Welcome to another in the series of demonstrations designed to get you quickly up to speed with what's new in NX-CAM. This is the first of two videos that show how you can now teach feature mapping and teach operation sets. The ability to create mapping and machining rules is particularly useful when specific machining workflows are required and must be applied consistently to commonly used feature types. This first video will show how you can teach NX to map standard feature types to those commonly used in your specific work environment. The second video will show how you can teach operation sets and apply machining rules to machine a part. We'll use one part to teach feature mapping and operation sets, and then apply these rules to another part where the machining will be performed. Using a separate part for teaching, as in this example, is the preferred method. We'll begin with the teach part. Recognizing the features you will use to create the mapping rules is optional. By doing this, however, NX sets the input type in the Teach Feature Mapping dialog box to match the features that you selected to teach. In the Machining Feature Navigator, right-click and select Find Features. Specify the following. Click Select Face. Select the four faces you wish to recognize. Click Find Features. Click OK. We'll now create a mapping rule that maps all holes that are any color except yellow to the feature type Standard Hole. In the Machining Feature Navigator, right-click Step 1 Hole 1 and select Teach Feature Mapping. This option is new. In the Feature Type Mapping section of the dialog box, the selected input and output types default to Step 1 Hole because we began by selecting the Step 1 Hole 1 feature. Click Add New Type. Type Standard Hole as the new output type. Select Mapping at the top of the Select Rule list. Click Add New Rule. Type Map to Standard Hole in the Select Rule list. In the Objects list, select Step 1 Hole. In the Parameters list, select Color. In the Operators section, click the less than or greater than button. Type 6. Click Validate. This mapping rule describes when a feature, which originally was labeled as Step 1 Hole In, should be transferred into a feature of type Standard Hole Out. This rule will map all holes with any color except number 6, that is yellow, to the Standard Hole feature type. Click Teach Mapping Rule. Click OK. The Map to Standard Hole rule with the specified condition has been written to the Machining Knowledge Library. Next, we'll create a mapping rule that maps only the yellow holes to the feature type Toleranced Hole. In the Machining Feature Navigator, right-click Step 1 Hole 2 and select Teach Feature Mapping. Click Add New Type. Type Toleranced Hole as the new output type. Select Mapping at the top of the Select Rule list. Click Add New Rule. Type Map to Toleranced Hole Color in the Select Rule list. In the Objects list, select Step 1 Hole. In the Parameters list, select Color. In the Operators section, click the Equal button. Type 6. Click Validate. This mapping rule describes when a feature, which originally was labeled as Step Hole 1 In, should be transferred into a feature type of Toleranced Hole Out. This feature will map all holes with the color number 6, yellow, to the Toleranced Hole feature type. Click Teach Mapping Rule. The Map to Toleranced Hole Color rule with the specified condition will be written to the Mapping Knowledge Library when you click OK. As long as you do not click Apply or OK, you can cancel your updates if you make a mistake. If you need to delete a mapping rule after saving it to the Machine Knowledge Library, use the Machine Knowledge Editor application. We'll define several more rules and then click OK once to write them to the Machining Knowledge Library. We'll create a second mapping rule for the tolerance toll feature type that maps all holes with ISO class less than or equal to 7. With tolerance toll still selected in the Select Output Type list, select Mapping at the top of the Select Rule list. Click Add New Rule. Type Map to Tolerance Toll PMI in the Select Rule list. Click the Function button. The Function button lists all functions that can be used within Operation Set Teaching and Teach Feature Mapping for those cases where more complex mathematics are needed. In the function list, select IT Class ISO. In the Objects list, select Step 1 Hole. In the Parameters list, select Diameter 1. Type a comma. In the Parameters list, expand Diameter 1 and select Upper. Type a comma. In the Parameters list, select Lower. Click the Close Parentheses button. Click the Less Than or Equal To button. Type 7. Click Validate. This mapping rule describes when a feature which originally was labeled as Step 1 Hole In should be transferred into a feature type of Tolerance Toll Out. This rule will map all holes with tolerance class 7 or lower to the tolerance toll feature type. Click Teach Mapping Rule. Lastly, we'll create a third mapping rule for the tolerance toll feature type that maps all holes with a hole fit face attribute. With tolerance toll still selected in the Select Output Type list, select Mapping at the top of the Select Rule list. Click Add New Rule. Type Map to Tolerance Toll Face in the Select Rule list. In the Operators section, click the Functions button. In the Functions list, select Is Defined. In the Objects list, select Step 1 Hole. In the Parameters list, select MW Hole Guide Pin Fit. Click the Closed Parentheses button. Click Validate. This rule will map all holes with the MW Hole Guide Pin Fit attribute to the tolerance toll feature type. Click Teach Mapping Rule. NX uses priority together with conditions to determine which feature to map. A larger priority number indicates a higher priority. If you do not assign a priority, NX applies the first rule selected at random which has all its conditions satisfied. Select the Map to Tolerance Toll Color Mapping rule in the Select Rule list. Select the More tab. Type 100 in the priority box and press Enter. Click Teach Mapping Rule. Do the same for the Map to Tolerance Toll PMI and the Map to Tolerance Toll Face mapping rules. Click OK in the Teach Feature Mapping dialog box. These rules have now been written to the Machining Knowledge Library. This concludes the demonstration of how you can now teach NX to map standard feature types. The next video, called Teach Operation Sets, will show how you can create operation sets and teach machining rules.